Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leyland Brothers. Whatever it is that you want to see, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. No matter whatever that happens to be, ask the Leyland Brothers. Come on, be in it and join in the fun. Travel all over Australia.
We've had a lot of letters from viewers asking us to show the picturesque scenery along the southwest coast of Western Australia. We're going to start off here at Albany, then travel from Albany to Denmark, then across to Walpole. But first we're going to start in Albany, see some of the history there, then the Natural Arch, across to Denmark, and finish up in the Valley of the Giants, not far from Walpole. And then at Kyogle here in New South Wales, we meet the man who makes racing axes. Now these are the axes which are used in woodchopping events all over Australia. His axes are reputed to be the best made anywhere. We've had numerous requests asking to see the south coast of Western Australia, particularly the area between Albany and Walpole. This letter is typical. It comes from signaller B.R. Henville with the School of Signals in Watsonia Barracks in Victoria. I'm writing in a plea to you to show the people of Australia the beauty of southwestern coast of Western Australia. The places I mean are Two People's Bay, Natural Bridge, The Gap, Dog Rock and other interesting places in the area. To answer this letter and the many others who wrote in to ask the Leyland Brothers to show this area, we're going to travel along the South Coast Highway and visit some of the more interesting spots. We'll start here in Two People's Bay, where the scenery is dominated by giant boulders, and end at the Valley of the Giant Trees, 150 kilometres from here. Two People's Bay was named because of a historic meeting between the French and English here in the early 19th century. Little has changed since that time. It has been declared a flora and fauna reserve because the giant grey granite boulders and low dense scrub hide the extremely rare noisy scrub bird, thought to be extinct until it was rediscovered here in 1961. An hour's drive west brings us to a more famous granite boulder at Albany. Dog Rock was named because of its dog's head shape. Our dog Chloe thinks it looks the part anyway. Albany was first established in 1826, 2 years before Perth, and is therefore the site of the first white settlement in Western Australia. Albany overlooks the picturesque Princess Royal Harbour and King George Sound. The Amity was the ship that brought the first settlers to Western Australia. They landed here and founded the township of Albany. A 75-foot replica of the brig is on display near the Residency Museum on the waterfront at Albany. The Amity landed the first was here that the first timber was felled, the first sheep reared, the first crops sown and the first roads made. Today's roads in Albany are less picturesque and a lot busier. The town and shire now has a population of 18,000 and is listed as Western Australia's premier tourist town. More people visit Albany than any other tourist town in the state. The town site was originally chosen because of its protected harbour in the rugged and rocky coastline. The ocean south of Albany is rich in sperm whales, and consequently the last land-based whaling station in Australia operated from here. Albany and whaling are synonymous. We filmed these scenes only weeks before the Shane Beach whaling station closed down operations for good. Thousands of tourists each year came at dawn to the steam-driven whaling station to see the huge animals butchered and processed into whale oil and other related byproducts. The seagulls will have to look elsewhere for a feed now. The whale chasers sit rusting at the wharf, and the only reminder of the whaling days is the Whaling Museum, and in this scrimshaw art on whale's teeth by Gary Tonkin of Albany. Growing concern for the future of the sperm whale and a reduction in Australia's whale quota meant the end of another colourful era in Albany's history. We'll be back after this break to continue our journey along the South Coast Highway. Not far from Albany, on the ocean side of the peninsula bordering King George Sound, we find a deep crevice in the cliffs where waves beat and surge. This is the famous Gap. A short walk from the awesome Gap is the Natural Bridge. This massive arch is solid granite. Imagine the millions of waves it must have taken to beat out and slowly, ever so slowly, erode the hole under the arch. This would have to be the most photographed natural phenomena on the southwest coast. A half-hour's drive west along the highway and another half-hour south along the secondary road brings us to Torbay Bay and a good view of West Cape Howe, the southernmost extremity of Western Australia. First landfall south of here is the South Pole. Another half-hour's drive west along the South Coast Highway gives us the opportunity to answer some more requests. We've had a number of letters asking to see the small township of Denmark, particularly from immigrants from the country of Denmark. We have a letter here from Mrs. E. Fenson of Osborne in South Australia. She wrote to say she is Danish and would love to see Australia's Denmark and wondered how it got its name. Well, Mrs. Fenson, we're going to have a look at Denmark, Western Australia for Walpole. Just short of Walpole, we turn north to the Valley of the Giants. The giants in question are the towering trees in this valley. Not far from the Valley of the Giants is Circular Pool. The rotting vegetation of the forest turns the streams here into a dark brown tea colour. After the water cascades over rocks, it froths up like a giant washing machine full of soap suds. Maybe it's where the giants from the Valley of the Giants wash themselves. Kerry and Dawn think it's a fun place to play. We leave the mighty forest giants and drive to the coast near Walpole to end our look at the southwest coast. I think you will agree the south coast of Western Australia is a land rich in natural beauty.
We've come to Kyogle here in New South Wales to answer an unusual request. This letter comes from Geoffrey Parish, Reverend Geoffrey Parish from Fairlight in New South Wales. And he says, could you please visit Kyogle to call on Clive McIntosh, who makes racing axes. That is, axes which are used by axemen at the shows for woodchopping contests. I understand that he's one of the few men in the world, and possibly the only man in Australia, who does this. Well, to look into that story, we're going to meet Clive McIntosh, and he lives in the house just here.
Macintosh axes are world famous and are all hand ground in a small workshop under his house. The heads are cast in a Sydney foundry using special steel. Clive has been an axeman most of his life, as he explains.
Well, my father was a champion axeman before me, and needless to say, because I was pretty large, he started me off at a fairly early age to compete in the ring in the woodchopping competitions. As a matter of fact, I was 14 when I won the first competition, and although father could use an axe, he wasn't what you'd call a real expert at getting them ready. I could see that it was something that went in with part and parcel of axemanship, so at that, even way back then, I started to grind my own axes. This is the stage I bring the axe up when I come up from the foundry in Sydney. I go down there and they cast the head for me. It is an axe made of special carbon steels. It has a lot of alloys in it to refine the grain structure and for stiffness in the blade, so that in the impact on hitting the wood, the blade doesn't distort. And that is one of the reasons our axes are held in such high regard. I put it on an emery grinder. It travels at a pretty high speed. It is made specially for grinding axes, where I grind all the rough part of it. I do the outline to make the proper outline of the axe. I do all the rough grinding and more or less shape the axe up to this stage. The course belt takes all the emery wheel marks out, and it also helps me further shape the axe, take it down to the correct thickness and put the right contours in the blade. From then on, of course, it's only just plain straight out polish finishing. The finer the belt, of course, the finer the finish. What more appropriate place to talk about axes than up in the wood heap? These are the finished axes, of course, that I've been manufacturing and making underneath in my little workshop. This particular type is a wide axe that goes down to Victoria for the softer woods. This one is a even bigger, softer one, a bigger axe that goes to Tasmania. A lot of these are used over in their soft timbers over there, particularly in their smaller blocks. This one here is a particular type of grind that is used in Tasmania a lot. You'll notice the cutaway heel at the back. The axemen claim that it takes a little bit of weight off the axe, and it also throws most of the weight of the axe onto the front of the axe. Now this is a finished racing axe. It has a rough head finish, and it's a wide blade axe that's used in Tasmania. Now how this differs from an axe you'd buy in a store is, first of all, the shape of it, and the steel, which is a fine grained steel, totally different to the axe you would buy in a shop, and then of course ultimately is the grind. That's the different part. These axes finish up very sharp. There's no trouble at all to take a little bit of hair off your arm, no trouble at all. They're razor sharp, they've got to be to penetrate the wood.
Clive McIntosh's Aussie speed axe and key steel axes are famous wherever axemen meet, and the competition woodchop is a very popular sport, a race, because the competitor remains in the same place throughout the event. For the block chopping event, each competitor prepares his footholds prior to starting.
Whoop. You're used to that too. Wrong blade, mate.
The method of chopping is explained by Wingham axeman Bill Boyd.
Now, when you start off on your strong side and you always turn your body towards where you're chopping. You go 1, 2, you turn 3, 4, and keep rotating the axe round like that in a circular motion so that you come up this side and down that side actually in like a circular saw type of thing. You then drive it from your strong side, 1 on the bottom, 1 in the middle, 1 on the top, and you just spin around like that. Start 1 on the bottom, 1 on the top.
Very careful. Be sure the secretaries of the door.
One of the most important things in axes is that the axe comes out. Anybody can drive it in, but you might have seen today that some fellows drive it in and it stays there. It takes more effort to pull it out than what it does to put it in. You've got to pull it out, it takes away the energy of 2 or 3 drive-in hits, so it's very important. Your axe plays a big part in your job, and if you can pick a particular type of axe for a particular type of timber, that's a lot to do with being a professional woodchopper.
The professional carries a variety of axes to these events, each with a special characteristic suited to a particular type of wood. The last thing before starting is to finely sharpen the blade, ready for action. Let's watch the style which puts Bill Boyd among the top axemen in the country with a 30-second handicap.
30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 39. Put the final mark on your logs, please.
Right, here we go. What's the number coming up? We got $20 for the Let's cut that all right. It's scratchy on that side now.
Wood chopping is part of the Australian tradition, but as we now know, there's more to chopping through these logs than mere muscle. The axe plays a big part in winning too, and many a winner owes something to Clive McIntosh's hand-ground racing axes.
Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. Travel all over the countryside, ask the Leyland Brothers. Whatever it is that you want to see, ask the Leylands, ask the Leylands. No matter whatever that happens to be, ask the Leyland Brothers. Come on, me in it and join in the fun. Travel all over Australia.